about today. Obviously, the first one is that can you critique Islam? Yeah, can you critique Islam? And also, we're going to talk about two things that you mentioned about Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, when he insulted a pagan and said, "Go and suck whatever of your god." And also, the Prophet ﷺ said something along those lines, which I don't know the hadith. I need to go back and check, but I'll just go with what he said. Now, before we talk, obviously you mentioned, let's go back to what happened with Sarah, yeah? Okay, you know the issue that happened with Sarah, and you said that basically because of your ancestors and the things that they went through in this country, if you just elaborate, I don't want to take words out.
Okay, well, you're taking out what the context, and
forgive me.
Certainly if you're going to start and you're going to use trigger words like ancestor to make it seem as if I have a particular, give me a second, but I have a particular belief system, that's not what we were speaking about initially. Let me just be very clear. Last week, once again, there was another incident with Sarah in the park. And during that incident, a particular person said that he's going to rip off his face and he's going to do X, Y, Z, which is very violent. He had other people with him. To give credit, some Muslims did jump in, and there was I was here with 3 or 4 people, and I made clear that it seemed as if Sarah was about to be attacked. This, I say, has been growing for a period of time. There is, I believe, a lack of respect in the park towards dark-skinned black men. And a lot of that disrespect comes primarily from people of a Muslim background, Arab/Pakistani background, whereby they have a lack of respect for black men. Does this mean all the Muslims in the park? Of course it doesn't. But what it does mean is that, from my opinion, is that there is a sizable minority that agrees with this particular action. My view was very clear because I've seen what's built up over a period of time. I made clear that the law states that you are allowed to use reasonable force in defense of yourself and others. I made clear that if Sarah was attacked, I don't care what the odds are, we're going to battle it out, because seemingly there are people in the park that believe that they have a right to tell grown adults, grown men, what they should say, how they should say it, when they should say it, and if they don't say it in the way that it's acceptable to them, then there is a chance that there will be violence. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with anybody who takes that position. My position is very clear. I will defend Muslims, Christians, atheists, black or white in this park if they have an opinion. And they, for me, as grown adults, they are allowed to voice their opinion. In this country, there is a very small patch of land, perhaps about 2, possibly 3 acres within Hyde Park, where on a Sunday, for the past 150 years, people have been able to come down and say whatever they like. You also, though, even though they can say what they like, you also have the choice not to listen to what they have to say. You can walk them out, you don't have to hear what's being said. There is a small minority of Muslims that believe that they do not want to accept this, that they are not going to follow the law of the land, and if you make the mistake of critiquing Islam, then there is going to be a problem. I don't accept that.
Okay, you know, once you mentioned, there's one thing you missed out.
Yes,
the reason I'm saying that is because it comes back to the 2 questions I'm going to answer about Abu Bakr and the Prophet. You know, you said you will back up Sarah,
yes,
because he's your black brother.
No. Can I just say sorry. That's not in context, Ali.
Okay, that's why I asked you to clarify.
You want to make your point, and then I will tell you how it was made, how that particular point was made.
Yeah, if you just made that, the reason I'm saying that is not just, by the way, not to use it against you. It will answer my question. You'll understand. But if you can just tell from your side what you meant by that, and the reason you said it.
Well, what I said was that I am very clear that Sarah is my brother. Yeah, Sarah is also my black brother, and I was very clear. I also pointed out when I said that, because some people became triggered, oh, why do you have to mention colour? Well, because we have a shared history a shared history of discrimination, a shared history of disrespect, that comes towards dark-skinned people. But prior to me saying that, what I said to Ali was that, look, this is my view. I said, if it's Christian, if it's Muslim, if it's atheist, if it's white, if it's black, I will support them, do you understand, if they wish to have free speech, in the park, and even if it was on them, I would also defend them, because even though it would look as if I'm defending that individual, what I'm defending is the concept of free speech in a world where there is very little free speech. Just recently, I came back from traveling to 5 or 6 countries in Southeast Asia, and whilst I enjoyed myself in Southeast Asia, the one thing that I was very clear about was the astonishing lack of free speech that was in Southeast Asia. So whilst they had the appearance of fully functioning societies, there were people who couldn't say what they wished to say. I don't wish that to happen in London. I don't wish that to happen in the UK. We have something fairly precious here in Hyde Park, and if you have free speech, you should have a right, you should have a right to exercise that free speech. Now look, last week when I was speaking, a guy came up to me and said I was an idiot. And I had a laugh with him when he called me an idiot. Do you know the reason why? He has a right to call me an idiot. He has a right. This is Hyde Park. This is not out on the street. He has a right to call me an idiot. Well, I don't agree with you. I think you're talking far. He has a right to say that. But guess what? I also have a right to answer him when the laughter has died down. Say, well, let's now stick to the point, and let's see whether or not I am talking far or whether I am an idiot. Do you understand? But my argument is, as I said, I'm very clear. I am not for so-called black supremacy, so-called white supremacy, Asian supremacy, Islamic supremacy, Arab supremacy, which seems to be on the rise. Do you understand? My argument is a fairly simple one. Either we have free speech or we don't. If we have free speech, who are you to put conditions on anybody who wishes to exercise that free speech? It was in that context that I said that whatever happens, where Sarah's concerned, it could have been Ali Dawah, do you understand? It could have been Dawah Digital, it could have been my homeboys from Content Over Everything. You have a right to say what you say, and it becomes very, very dangerous, and it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, to a religious dictatorship when people say, A, you can't critique us, and B, if you critique us, it's got to be done in a way in which we find acceptable. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, but one thing, because I really want to emphasize on this is, the reason why I'm doing it, because I'm going to get to my question, and people will only understand once we get the context. He said with Sarah, because of what happened with your, I'm not going to say ancestors because you understood that wrong. I didn't mean it in that way. Yes. Like your father who came here, that generation, and they went through a lot, remember?
Yes,
okay, yes. You said that played a role in you saying, for example, even though I testified that he did say, be it Muslim, Jew, Christian, whatever, he did say that, but the fact that he said with Sarah is because obviously what the black people went through in this country when his father came, he said that played a bit of a role in what you said?
Yes, I think, okay. You're right.
Okay, good. So
you explained that right.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to clarify
yes.
that. Now, firstly, what I want to say is, any kind of racism that Muslims say, be it the N-word, be it the monkey or this, that, to me it's very clear. Islam doesn't teach this. Islam, the hadith, the literature, you find me in. And anyone that comes and utters these words, to me it shows something very clear. Islam, 1% of Islam hasn't even gone into your head. 1% of Islam hasn't gone into your head, because if 1% went into your head, racism is not allowed anyways. Besides that, you idiot, you have black Muslims. You insulting him, like, where is the common sense? And besides that, racism does exist in Muslim communities, but not in Islam. I want to make that very clear. I'll be honest with you, I'm a revert to Islam. I suffered racism, man. I wanted to marry a certain specific girl. I got rejected. Why? Because you're not from our culture. That's besides the point. We're not talking about my marriage here. Yeah? Okay. Now, what BigBro mentioned was, for example, the right to criticize. Look, we give dawah. We come here every day, every Sunday, and we're around different parts of London, around the UK, around the world. Why do we go out? Because, look, criticize our religion. You can criticize. You come to me and say, why did the Prophet marry Aisha? Let's talk about it. Why does Allah say this? Let's talk about it. Like BigBro said, he believes there's violence in Islam. Let's talk about it. We have no problem with critiquing our religion. However, when you come and insult, as a Muslim, The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is my role model. Yes, the Prophet said, I did not come to perfect. I did not come for nothing but to perfect good character, good manners. And this is one thing that as Muslims we lack. I'm going to be straight up. I'm not going to beat around the bush. What's been happening for the past couple of weeks, I'm sorry, be it Muslim or not, I'm not saying it's just with Muslims. The attitude is disgusting. And it is Allah, His Prophet and His companions are free from this action. Because the Prophet doesn't teach you to, hey, somebody can't swear, insult, be racist. Ridiculous. So Islam is free from these actions. I want to make that very clear. Now, going back to criticism. You said, for example, Abu Bakr said to a pagan, go and suck the clitoris of
Al-Nat,
the god that you worship. And even you mentioned that the Prophet said something similar along those lines, which I haven't heard of, but let's go with it and say this was said. Now, this is the reason why I was asking a question about Sarah. Now, what you and your father and your forefather went through, they went through all this torture. They went through this madness. Do you think I would sound a bit opportunistic? Did I say it right? Opportunistic, yeah? Sorry about that. Do you think I would sound a bit like that if I was to say, you know what? You came to me and said, you know what, look here, our forefathers went through this. They got killed, they got kicked out of their house, their woman got raped, da-da-da-da. And then I came and said, yeah, all good. But did you see what they said to the people who did that to them? Your forefather came and said, hey, go suck the clitoris of your white god. You're going to come and say to me, Ali, I'm telling you they went through this, and all you can concentrate is this? Man, the least they could have done is say that or swear or at least do something. So what we're saying is Abu Bakr and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is that the pagan Arabs, do you know what they put the Muslims through? You have no idea. They killed companions. Women, they put a, you know that, what's it called? Spear through the woman's private parts. Yeah? They kicked them out from the lands. They took over their houses, their properties. And the least they can do is say, go to your God and suck his clitoris. What I'm saying is, these are human beings. The companions, the Prophet ﷺ, yes, he's a messenger. He was a human being. That hadith, we need to look into it. I don't know. But what I'm saying is the least you can expect from them and turn a blind eye is to say, you know what? He said that. Understandable. After what they've been through, understandable. Yeah? This is my reply to you, the claim that you made. Would you understand where I'm coming from with what I said and keeping in mind what your forefathers went through? Because it's very similar.
Okay, let me just say to you that sometimes when we make a statement, it's right that we should give context to the statement that we made. The statement that Ali Dawah just made was in response to something that I said earlier. And so what I'm going to do is point out what I said earlier, and then you decide whether or not the response from Ali Dawah was the right response. The question that I asked was in regards to Sarah. And the question that was asked was, do you believe that Sarah's language was acceptable? The answer is no, they don't believe it was respectable. Do you understand? Do you believe it was acceptable? No, they don't believe that it was acceptable. Why don't you believe it was acceptable? Ali Dawah said, and if I'm wrong anywhere, please stop me. Yeah, I don't mind. Ali Dawah said, we love the Prophet, alayhi salam, more than we love our own mothers. And if you insult the Prophet, there are some Muslims, especially the younger ones, who want to do X, Y, Z to you, and I support that. Yeah, this is what Ali Dawah said.
No, did I say I support that?
What? Sorry. Well, I'll take that part back.
I said, as an individual,
yes,
Sarah has insulted the Prophet in front of me.
Yeah.
I walked away. I said, you know what? We was having a discussion, Sarah. You started insulting. I'm not going to drop to your level. Goodbye. And I walked off. However, I said, if somebody, this is not just about the Prophet, if somebody insults your mother or comes and calls you an N-word to your face, it's unacceptable. Would I understand a black man who's being called an N-word and he goes violent? I have empathy and I understand him. However, would I look at that black man, the one who walks away, I'll say, you know, I respect you. You're the bigger man. However, if he was upset, angry, and physically wanted to do something, I would say, you know what? I don't blame him.
Okay.
Even though I disagree, I don't blame him.
All right, let me just say to you, I'm going to get back onto what I say was the original point as regards Sarah. One of the reasons why I asked the question is that do you believe Sarah was his language wasn't respectable? to the Prophet of Islam, alayhi salam, you understand? It wasn't respectful. Okay. Do you believe that any condemnation of your prophet using foul language is acceptable? No, it's not. What I then did was, when I spoke about religions, was saying, what is it about religions and the adherency of those in that religion that they believe it? Because they can't know as a fact. It's faith. It's their faith that separates them from everybody else. So you say that I'm a Muslim, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. This is
You
what...
just accepted Islam, by the way.
Yeah, I know. but can I just say to you, whilst that's funny, you already knew that was my background. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So my point was a simple one. Do you accept that Sarah's language was outrageous and should it be condemned to people who have faith? The answer is yes. Okay. What I then said was, what I'm going to do now, all I'm going to do is mention, nothing of my own opinion. All I'm going to mention now is both the Quran and the Sunnah. Nothing else. Since that language is so terrible that it would trigger some Muslims to threaten to kill somebody in Hyde Park. Do you understand? I asked you then, let's look at the hadith, for example, when Muhammad, he says pagan. Do you understand? You can only say pagan now with the passage of time. But at the time of Muhammad alayhi salam, when he started, he was the one that was the pagan. Because he was the one that was coming with a new religion, which was fundamentally different from the 360 religions that surrounded the Kaaba. Do you understand? So let's just be very clear about this. There were people at that particular time that had their particular faiths and their particular beliefs. Doesn't matter whether you believe it was right, they had that faith that they believed that it was right. When, I'm not sure if I can't remember the name, it might have been Earthquake, who came to the Prophet. And when he spoke to the Prophet and he was trying to ask the Prophet not to go to war with the tribe, do you understand? The message was sent out from the Prophet alayhi salam, and he told him, and these messengers were around him. He said, go and bite the penis of your father. And then he said, don't use any euphemisms. Well, you can shake your head. Do you understand? I can tell you that what I'm saying is correct. No, I'm speaking generally.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah? Just a little while after, because remember, we're talking about whether language is offensive or not. And if we accept that Sarah used language which is not acceptable, if we accept that Sarah used language which is not acceptable, and that would trigger you, well, let's look at all language which we would find unacceptable. There was another hadith, and go onto Google and check it yourself. There was another hadith. You understand? I've actually got the book. Just hold it a second. Yeah. Now, think about this just for a moment. Abu Bakr, who is supposed to be one of the first rightly guided caliphs in the company of Muhammad alayhi salam, said to a man who had a belief in his God. It might not have been your God. Similarly today, when Muslims speak about the God of others, or people speak about the God of Allah, well, we don't believe in your God. At that particular time, the belief in Al-Nat might well not have been the belief of Abu Bakr and Muhammad alayhi salam. But what was the language? What was the language that was used by the first rightly guided caliph? What was the language that was used? To his God, which was Al-Nat. You understand? The language that was used was, go and suck on the clitoris of your God. Because you see, when we speak about language which is acceptable and not acceptable, if we are going to condemn offensive language, let's not be particular in whom we condemn. Let's just say that we condemn particular language. Now, Ali's particular point, which I accept, was that, well, Abu Bakr, is just a man, and so he is fallible. I'm sorry, where the Prophet of Islam alayhi salam is concerned is that he is not like all of us. He is not like all of us. This is a man, according to Islam, who has been separated from us yeah, rightly guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, spoken to, if you believe the narrative, by the angel Jibreel, given, yeah, given chapter and verse over 23 years, do you understand? Led and built the juggernaut, which is Islam, into the behemoth which it is today, with 1.6 billion Muslims. If the argument is that you can have Islam, but Islam must not be critiqued, because there are people who can't control their feelings, and they say, we will kill you if you state an opinion which we're against. My argument to you is this: what then is the difference? What then is, apart from scale, what then is the difference between the thoughts of people who would have that and the people who would slaughter people around the world because they say something against Islam that they dislike? Because I'd like to hear it.
Okay. Firstly, the hadith that he mentioned about the Prophet ﷺ saying, go and bite your father's penis, yeah, which I found, it's got nothing to do with anyone's religion. This was actually said because a man was boasting about his lineage. Yeah, so this is like a form of racism, like, hey, my lineage, I come from this. Yeah, so the Prophet said, peace be upon him, which he well deserved, because this is actually against what Big Bro is saying, because over here we've got a man boasting, hey, my lineage, I'm from this tribe, and the Prophet is saying, go and bite your father's penis then. You know, if you're so like big up, yeah, I'm like, you came from a fluid, yeah. So the Prophet is rebuking him in such a harsh way to show how harsh Islam is against this kind of ideology of superiority. I'm better than this guy. No. So the Prophet put him back in his place, not because of his religion, because of racism. Racism is a trait of Shaitan, Satan. It's a trait of Satan. Did the first thing. I am better than Adam. This is in Islam. So any Muslim that comes and calls a black man or a white man this word or that word, you are carrying a trait of Shaitan with you, which Islam is totally against. What I'm saying to Big Bro, and by the way, I want to thank him for being respectful. Every time he mentioned the Prophet ﷺ's name, he says alayhi salam, yeah? Which I thank him, because it shows that he is a man that, you know, I'm sorry, not like Sarah, I'm sorry, yeah? However, what I said before is this, yeah? Whatever I said is this, yeah? Big Bro, calm down, yeah? His brother, you know, his brother hench, his shoulder keeps, I'm here, yeah, his shoulder's here. What I was saying is this, yeah? We need to put things into context, yeah? Because what Big Bro is saying is mentioning what Abu Bakr said and the Prophet said, and he's claiming, look, this is where these guys are getting it from. That's not right, that's not correct. We've got to be fair, because like I said, look at the context, guys. They went through, look, you guys have to put yourself in their shoes. Your mum slaughtered, kicked out your house, your clothes are taken, yeah? Gucci clothes, Armani, whatever it may be, yeah? Taken. They've kicked you out from your house. You're living in some next land. And they come to you, and then you say to them, go and suck the clitoris of your God. And then Big Bro comes and says, bruv, how are you saying that to my man? You're going to say, like, bro, Big Bro, they've done this and this. Is that Big Bro's like, I don't care what they did. All I care about is what you said. I'll say that's unfair. And I know Big Bro, I believe he's a fair individual, he's a sincere individual. We have to put things into context. Like I said before, what your forefathers went through, it will be so petty and disgusting of me to come and pick on a little thing that your forefathers said to those who oppressed them. This is not fair. We have to be fair. And like I said before, what you mentioned about the penis thing, the Prophet, it was nothing to do with the man's religion. He was boasting of racism. He was a racist man. And the Prophet said that. Him saying that, I think it's petty to come and pick and say, hey, you know, he's the best, he's the messenger of Allah, the best of mankind, a role model. How is he saying that? I'll say that's unfair. He said it, and that man deserved it. Because this is the reason why these individuals who come and call you a monkey, or call these individuals or whatever the N-word, to be honest, would I come and say the same thing? Yes. I would go to them and say, you know what, you're so proud of your Pakistani lineage, go and do this. Or I might say, you know what, I'll just ignore him. However, the Prophet saying that doesn't in no way, shape or form mean, okay, yeah, look, I think it's petty. I think it's really petty to pick on this, because this racism, and racism is a problem that we have today, till this day, like you said, it's out there. Now, another point that I want to mention
Can I just mention that very quickly? And
talking about a prophet here.
And can I just say to you, there's a little bit of bait and switch here, and I'll tell you the reason why. When you listen to this video, I want you to rewind the video about 10 minutes and heard what Ali Dawah said. What Ali Dawah said, the reason why initially that the Prophet ﷺ One of the reasons why he said the words that he said was because these people had chased them from their homes. He regaled you with stories of how a man took a spear and inserted it into a woman. They were chased from. Just 1 minute, 1 minute. Yeah, they were chased. That they were chased from their lands, and this is the reason why Muhammad alayhi salam said what he said. Now it's being changed because he's now got the correct hadith, and that wasn't the reason why he said it. The reason why he said it was because he disagreed. He disagreed. You're right that it wasn't religious. It was more than that. He disagreed with what the man said, because what the man was doing, quite rightly, was pointing out to Muhammad his lineage in that particular part of the world. For me, it was a disrespectful statement, by Muhammad alayhi salam. Let me just say this very quickly, and this is for me one of the chasms that exist in Islam at the moment. For me personally, you can have what you believe is a rightly structural criticism of Islam and whatever is said, well, there's a reason why he did that. Yeah, instead of you using logic and saying to yourself, well, on the surface, it doesn't actually make much sense. Ali then inserted the racist angle in it. I've read that hadith. I have the hadith on my phone and in my book. There was nowhere where just 1 moment, please. Yeah, you can ask him to show you. He has his Google here. Yeah, sure. There is nowhere, and I challenge you now. I challenge Ali Dawah to show me one statement in that particular hadith that alluded to racism from this particular quote unquote boastful racist man. There is not one statement. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to tell you I haven't read.
Don't do this to yourself, big bro.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb. But guess what?
What does it mean?
Well, you go out on a limb where I'm going to make the statement, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to be shown to be wrong. I'm going to be shown to be wrong. But guess what? You know the great thing?
Yeah, no, it's good.
You know the great thing? No. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize.
Thank you.
But I have read the.
Good character.
I have read that hadith.
I'm sorry, big bro.
I'm going to come to that in just a moment.
Carry on.
And let me just say to you that for me was not the reason. There was no racism that was mentioned in that statement. Lastly, this. Ali said to me that one of the things that he likes is that obviously I respect the Prophet, and I will use the right terms when I discuss the Prophet alayhi salam. There are multiple reasons for this. A, because most people down here know that my religion was Islam. My brothers, 2 of my brothers, still remain Muslim. Do you understand? Probably a third of my family still remain Muslim. Do you understand? But let me just say this. That does not stop me from being able to critique Islam if I wish to critique Islam. Last point I would make is this. Very, very important to me, this point, because I just lost my thought for a second, but he mentioned Sarah, and it's so much better than Sarah. Let me just explain something to you. Sarah, and I want to be very clear about this, Sarah remains my brother, my brother. I want to be clear about this. I look in the camera. Sarah remains my brother, good or bad. Let me tell you the difference now between myself and some of what I say are the triggered Muslims in this park. I can say that Sarah remains my brother, and I love Sarah as my brother, and I will defend him as my brother. If the question though is, okay, big bro, the language that's used when there is a discussion regarding Muhammad alayhi salam or Islam, would you use the same language as Sarah? I state categorically, I would not. And the reason why I would not is because it doesn't work for me. Because if I am going to be having that discussion, it's because I want something back from that discussion, and I want it back in the best way possible. However, Sarah remains an adult. And as an adult, he is not my child. Big man, he can do whatever he wishes to do because he is a grown man with his own opinions, do you understand, with his own objectives, with his own version of his life. He can say whatever he wishes to say. So I just want to make that very, very clear, do you understand? Because what I don't want is a divide and rule tactic coming in to split me between my brothers, because I've seen this before at the park, whereby you will have a group of Muslims who were around around a particular black brother. And then all of a sudden,
you shouldn't judge me because of them.
I'm not talking about you. Yeah. I said there are some Muslims. I didn't say all. If I did, then I could be condemned. Yeah. Now there are a group of Muslims. There are a group of Muslims in the park, and I see what happens every time they deal with a dark-skinned black man. They'll come up and they'll put up. I'm not being rude. They'll put up and they say, "Do you know what? You shouldn't be like him. You know, this is the divide and rule tactic. Black people have gone through this in the West for over the last 500 years. We recognize when it happens. When it happens." The last point I'll make is this: there's a great deal of disingenuity amongst some people in this park. Do you honestly believe, and I'm asking this as a question, do you believe that there's like 4 or 5 people that I'm here with today, yeah, who are standing around. Do you honestly believe that if something is said, and we believe just as individuals, oh Jesus, that's kind of dark, that's kind of deep. Do you believe that we wouldn't go up to our brother who we love outside of here and have a conversation with our brother? You don't believe that? What? But we don't care what you say. Yeah, we care what I say. Yeah. That's right.
Can we?
No. I'm just going to mention this because you see, it's very important. I don't believe what you believe, so you have no right to impose your belief on me. It's a general statement. It's a general statement.
I'm going to touch up on it.
It's a general statement. Do you understand? And this is what happens. This is what happens when a black man makes a statement. We all know that in the black community, one of the real problems that we have in the black community is the actual lack of disrespect from other people who are black, who are quick to enjoin, last point Ali, who are quick to enjoin onto the ideologies of others. Do you understand? I could be rude. Am I rude sometimes? Yes, I am. And do you know what they are? I call them a group of house niggas. And now that's me being rude.
Cold as ice.
Okay. Bro, that's accurate.
Okay.
That's because I'm a human being and I'm fallible. But that's what I believe.
Yeah, big bro, but then you made me forget. Go on, Ali. How can I go on? You made me forget.
Sorry, I apologize.
What was the first thing that you mentioned?
Well, I've been taken off target as well.
No, you talked about the Sarah thing.
Yes.
Forget that before that. What was you talking about?
I can't remember now.
Okay, yeah, good. Sorry. Yeah.
We were talking about a particular hadith, and I said there's no racism in it, and I said I'm prepared to go out on a limb if I'm proven wrong.
You said
there is no racism in that particular hadith, and I wait to be proven wrong.
Yeah, by the way, you said I did a switch and bait. Yeah. Okay. Firstly, one thing that I want to mention, guys.
I didn't mean that in a negative way.
No. But maybe I'm just trying to clarify so you understand that it was not a switch and bait. Yeah. Firstly, guys, what we need to understand is, we shouldn't have this mentality of ego, like it's me against Big Bro. Here, he's criticizing Islam, and I'm answering. I don't want this to be like, hey, me. And by the way, we need to title your videos, not Ali Dawah vs Big Bro. Yeah, this is a discussion that's happening.
Absolutely.
We're not here to win a battle. I'm not going to be like, yes, one to me. Absolutely. This is childish. Yeah, I'm not here for this. Now, I want to clarify something. I mentioned when Abu Bakr said to that pagan guy about go and suck whatever clitoris of Allah. Yeah. I said to you very clearly at the beginning when you said go 10 minutes behind, if you guys go back, you will see that I said the hadith that is mentioned about the Prophet, I don't know, I need to look into it.
You did say that.
So I did not come and say that the Prophet said this or said that because they killed him. No, I never said that. I said that for the Abu Bakr, the narration of Abu Bakr. That's the reason I mentioned that. But for the Prophet, I said, I don't know what the hadith is about. I need to look into it. I have, and this is it. And maybe Big Bro can tell me if there's another one, because this is the only one that I know. Mm-hmm. It was narrated from Ubay, may Allah be pleased with him, that a man boasted of his tribal lineage and told him, tribal lineage. And Ubay told him, okay, so this is not even the Prophet. Hold on a second. And Ubay told him to bite his father's male member, and they said, you were never given to obscene speech. He said, we were instructed to do that. Okay.
By who?
Ubay, by the messenger. Okay. So Ubay didn't, but the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told him to. What did I say to you guys before? This is a man coming and boasting about his lineage. Yeah. So it will be petty it will be very petty to come and say, you know what, something that we all suffer from. I get racism. You get racism more than me, maybe, yeah? So to come, because what you're doing when you defend this, you're defending those individuals who might be KKK, whatever it may be, whoever they hate. It's like saying, you know what, you have a right to call me monkey. Like, it's just your freedom of speech. Where does freedom of speech stop, guys? Can I come and say to you, hey, you're a monkey, you're this? No, because look, freedom of speech, can I in this country? Yes, I can. Would I? No, I won't. The topic that, if there's something that needs to be discussed, is where does freedom of speech stop? Because even in this country, France, freedom of speech, don't insult the flag. Freedom of speech. You can't say nothing against the Queen. You can't say this. So even in this country, in the West, freedom of speech is hypocrisy. You can't, freedom of speech, speak about anything, but you can't say nothing about gays. You can't say nothing about the Jews. You can't say anything about the Holocaust, or etc., etc. So what I'm trying to say is, here defending what the Prophet said about that man being racist, the man deserved it. He deserved it. You coming up and this is the attitude that we shouldn't have. Now, Big Bro, one thing that I noticed, yeah, and I want to mention, you have this deep inner connection with your black people, yeah, whatever it may be.
Yes.
We have the same in Islam, but we don't look at color. We don't look at black, white, yellow, Chinese, green. In Islam, it teaches us how you are so close with your black brothers or whatever. You have that thing because of what's happened before. I respect that. Yes, you guys went through madness, 100%. However, what you have, Big Bro, with your way of thinking, whatever it may be, I swear by Allah, we have the same with our black brother, our white brother, Chinese, whatever he is, Muslim, even that. We're going to be honest, yes? Our Muslim brothers and sisters, wherever they may be. So I just want to make that clear that in Islam, it's not, hey, you're black or hey, you're white. It's about you're my brother in Islam and humanity. This doesn't mean
that in practice
this
or in theory?
Okay, good. Now, do Muslims do this? And I'm going to say, I'm not going to come and say, we can't come here and say every single Muslim is racist. No.
But in general.
There is Muslims that are racist, but they are sadly either Muslim by name, they know nothing about Islam, or they are Muslims that know about Islam, but are committing a sin. It's wrong. We need to ask the question here, does Islam teach us? If not, when I crash my car, I'm not going to come and start blaming the car. You're an idiot, you're a fool, see what you made me do. No, the car's not to blame, I'm to blame. So we can't blame Islam. Is there Muslims that are racist? Yes. Have I suffered racism? Hell yes. Trust me, I suffered racism as well. And a lot of black people who come to Islam, they suffer racism too. So I've clarified Abu Bakr thing. I've clarified Abu Bakr issue. I've clarified the narration that he told me about, that I did never mention from the beginning that it's about that. Now, coming to Sarah.
Well, can I just say to you that on this particular hadith, I said I'd go out on a limb if you could show me where he was discussing racism in there, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, that a man boasted of his tribal lineage.
Yeah.
So if I'm coming to say,
what does that mean?
That means if I'm coming and saying, look, you know my lineage, yeah?
Yes.
Better than yours. I'm better than you.
And that's racist.
That's more.
Hold on. How is that racist?
Okay, what do we define as racism?
Well, be very clear. Let me just say to you very, very clear.
But I haven't made my point yet. You're going to have to touch upon that.
Sorry, I apologise.
Because you know what? Because let me just make my point.
Okay, sorry.
Touch upon that, yeah? Because to me, that's racism. Straight out racism. Do you get what I'm trying to say? To come and say, hey, my lineage, you know, we're very learned. We are the best. But what's the difference between Satan? I'm better than Adam. Oh, he didn't say lineage. Come on, guys, let's be real. We're being petty here with, hey, look, he didn't. Come on, let's be fair here. Justice.
Were they of the same lineage?
Justice.
Were they of the same race? Because you see, the only reason why I pointed out.
His lineage.
No, yeah, I understand that, but you mentioned race. I'm saying to you that today, you have, as a black man, a choice if you want to become Muslim, if you're not born into that particular faith. However, if you're born as a black man, you have no choice as to whether you're black or not. You understand?
You're right, bro. Big bro, but same way, if he's born to his lineage, he's going to come and say the same thing. This is my lineage, I was born into it.
It's not because you're equating his lineage with his race. This is what you're doing. No. I'm saying to you that race is a separate entity in and of itself, and you still have no choice, and you still have not proven to me how that is racist.
Okay.
You were very clear that it was,
Big Bro, and
it's not.
Okay,
if I say to you, oh, do you know my lineage? Yeah, I've got like I got like my 4 brothers, and I've got this, and I've got my
Not
cousins,
like that,
and that's my lineage.
Big bro, what's the
you
difference?
can't extrapolate on
Big
that
bro, what's
and
the
then
difference?
turn that into
This, your
race.
grandfather did
That's
this.
exactly
Big bro,
right.
Big bro, what's the difference of me coming and saying I'm white, I'm better than you, you're black, or I'm coming and saying to you, you know what, my lineage is better than you and your race. Tell me the difference.
I can tell you.
And I need to touch upon the 2 points. by the way.
Yeah, I can just say to you.
On your thing.
Yeah, can I just say to you, race is definitive.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no question that when you're speaking about a black man, and if a black man's in your presence, he knows that he is a black man.
Yes.
When you speak about lineage in the context that you're speaking about, it can never be about race. And you cannot say that religion had nothing whatsoever to do with this, because Muhammad's actions in rebuking him, he was rebuked, and if you read further down, he was rebuked by who?
I don't know what you're
He
talking
was
about.
rebuked by the messenger of Allah.
He was rebuked.
He was rebuked. Yeah, in this particular hadith here.
Yeah.
Do you understand? When you're speaking about he was put in his place because of the foul language that was used. Yeah, that was agreed with. Yeah, by the Prophet. Because what you did, you spoke about Ubay, but you didn't speak about what it said previously, which is what Muhammad had said, and then he said.
No, he didn't. He said,
Hold on.
Ordered to.
And then he did say it was ordered to. I just want to make clear to everybody else that prior to that, that what the Prophet of Allah alayhi salam had said is that when you say this, say it without euphemism, which means say it in a way, do you understand, that is as disrespectful as you can get. We can at least agree with that.
Okay, 1 second.
Do we agree with that?
I don't know. What you said, I need to look into the hadith.
But can I just say to you,
Can I sincerely ask, why is so funny?
Right,
I'm asking, can I go and look at the
it had
hadith?
nothing to do with racism.
You're telling me
though.
something, but I haven't looked. Let me tell you.
It's in front of you. You've got it here.
Big bro, which one, Big bro, which one is
Pardon?
worse? No.
Can I just say to you that where I come from, we call that religious sophistry, and that's playing with semantics. No, Dawah, it's not. That's your perception, and you're allowed your perception, but your perception is not mine.
Big bro.
According to your understanding.
We're going off a tangent.
According to your understanding.
Big bro, which one is worse?
Yeah.
I am white, I'm better than you, you're black.
Yeah.
My lineage is better than yours.
And
Which one is worse? I'm asking. No, I'm just asking.
Can I just say to you that I don't get engaged in that level of debate where race is concerned, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because when I speak about race, I speak about race from the context that I know not everything, but a great deal about my black history. I would never, I'm just saying to you, I would never go to the descendant of who they say are Jews who died in the Second World War. You understand? I would never go to a Jew and say, who do you think is a worse killer? Yeah, do you think Adolf Hitler gassing you in the gas chambers was a terrible killer, or do you believe it was under the all-consuming war of communism?
Good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a very good point. Now I'm going to get you. Are you telling me, guys, brothers, please listen carefully, please. You mentioned a very important point. When I came and said to you, which one is worse? Yeah. Me saying that I'm white and I'm better than you as a black person, or my lineage? You said Ali. To me, they are the same. It's like going to a Jew and saying.
I didn't say they were the same.
Okay, sorry. Can you? What do I? Why did you mention the?
No, I said to you that I'm not going into that. Yeah, because I said.
But I'm asking you a question, big bro.
Well, I said to you that race. I said that race, yeah, is a separate entity in itself. Because what you have standing around you here, give me just one moment. Hear me. Your name is Ali Dawah. Yeah. Say your name's Ali Dawah. Let me just say to you, I watched your video and you getting married. I understand.
Did you subscribe?
Totally changed my view
subscribe?
of you. I'm just saying, it totally changed my view of you. I actually thought that you were a good brother, decent brother. It's a fantastic video.
Thank you
but,
for breaking my back.
But I've just lost my point now.
So you were saying about the Hitler. You know, I said to you about which one is worse.
Yeah.
I said you mentioned Hitler.
Look, pardon? Let me just say to you that as far as I'm concerned, you've got black people standing around here who are the descendants of black people who went through a real Holocaust.
Yes.
When I said to you, is your name Ali Dawah? Even if you look at Dawah Digital, he gives his name as Dawah. It's fantastic for you and for your culture, and I'll explain to you what I mean. I can absolutely guarantee, with the 40 or 50 people surrounding us here, that if I spoke to a black person and I said to him, what's your surname? Do you know what he would say to me? His name's Smith, Robinson, daily, blah, blah, blah. This is what they would give to you. This is a sure sign that we are descendants, of perhaps the world's greatest Holocaust.
Yes.
The world's greatest Holocaust.
Yes.
Today, very few of us speak our own language in the way in which you do.
Yes.
Very few of us have our own God the way in which you do. I'm just speaking generally now. When I say you, not you, I'm just speaking generally. Very few of us have our own culture. We have a bastardized culture which has been given to us by those that have enslaved us.
Yes.
So, if we don't carry our own names, if we don't carry our own language, we don't carry our own culture, they give us a bastardized culture, until we are so stupid we believe that culture now is rice and peas on a Sunday. You understand? Or jollof rice at the weekend at our mum cooks. The reason why I'm pointing all that out to you...
Why are you mentioning these? I want to know why you mentioning all this.
I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because race, as I said to you, is very specific. When it's race, it's not just the race, it's what we've experienced as a particular racist category, as a particular category in a racist world.
Yes.
And I'm saying that you have the benefit of not going through what we have gone through. So when you ask me to equate lineage with race, I refuse to do so.
And you have every right to.
Yes.
And this is a very crucial point. What you said, I am 100% with you, because you're saying to me, Ali, to bring that and that to the level, it's not the same, and I'm 100% with you. So I need to ask a simple question.
Yes.
When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said such harsh words to a man who's just talking about lineage, let's go with your argument. He's not even talking about racism. Lineage. What do you think the Prophet would have said if he came with racism?
I didn't hear your question, sorry.
What I'm saying is, I'm going to go with what you said.
Okay.
Lineage and racism looks similar, but not the same thing. Even if I go with that, I have to beg the question: if the Prophet spoke so harsh words and told the man to go bite his father's penis over a matter of lineage, what do you think he would have said about a man who came with racism? Much worse stuff. Maybe much worse stuff. So that shows to me, and it's an evidence to me, by the way, that the Prophet Muhammad, if he was so harsh on a matter of lineage, and another thing that he said, if I'm not mistaken, in a narration of a man who came with nationalism, and he said your nation is under my feet, or something along those lines. So the Prophet is always trying to put it into their brain. So, and even the companion who was racist was it a black companion? Yeah. What did he? If I'm not mistaken, he said, "You are still in the time of ignorance," and that man had to go and put his head on the floor and ask the black companion to step over it or go over it as a humiliation. This clearly shows, in the matter of aspects of Islam, racism, you can forget about it. If Muslims are racist, okay, there is. Yes, I've suffered it. Now, because it's my time, I want to address one point. The matter of Sarah, when I said, "Look, you're more respectful." Now, I sometimes see inferiority complex in some black brothers. Why? Because the fact that I mentioned that, and automatically you came and said, "Hey, look, there's a trap going on here. They're trying to come and divide and conquer." I think that was not fair, because in no way, shape or form was I trying to insinuate that. But the fact that you say that, and when I hear other people say that, it shows to me there's an inferiority complex that's clouding your judgment with certain aspects. How? Look. Hear me out. Because I never came and said to you, "Hey, don't ever talk to Gary and Sarah again." I never said that. All I said was Sarah is disrespectful and he should learn something off his brother. Just the way I would see another Muslim and say, "You know what, man, you look at that brother. Go learn something." It's not a way of, because you gave examples of, "Hey, I see them doing," and coming and saying, "Hey, look, I'm sorry." I totally reject that. In no way was I insinuating divide and conquer. That's rubbish. Because why? I have black Muslims, brothers around me. It's ridiculous for me to go with this ideology, "Hey, if we divide and conquer." So that's why I reject that statement of, and your way of thinking, it makes it seem like there's an inferiority complex, which I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll apologize. But it seemed like that. Now, no, that was it. Thank you.
Okay.
Bro, this guy's got shoulders. I don't know how you do that.
Let me just say to you, I don't think that it is an inferiority complex by myself, because what I'm speaking about are actual statements of facts. The videos that I mentioned, whereby the touching and the pointing, and you're so very much different than him. Do you understand? These are particular tactics that have been used against black people in the West for the last 500 years. So this is not paranoia or an inferiority complex on my side. And the truth is, if you spoke to most black people privately, they would tell you the same. In fact, there are many conversations that black men have with each other that you're not aware of. When you speak about an inferiority complex, it's not something that I understand. Where I think that you might be on the right side is if you say that perhaps I'm a little bit unbalanced, and I may well accept that. argument, but then there is a reason for that as well. Reminds me of something that I said in the park a couple of weeks ago, and there was a group of black guys who were around me, and I was explaining that I just came back from Southeast Asia, and before someone went to open their mouth, I said, when a black guy comes back from somewhere, which is what we say untraditional, like Nigeria or Jamaica or Barbados or whatever, and you speak about a country that you've just come from, which is not traditional, so you're in Southeast Asia, if you speak to a black guy, do you know when you tell him you've been there, do you know the first question he asks you? Do you know? If I went to Southeast Asia, I'm just asking, let's see if we can do like an experiment. If I went to Southeast Asia and I've just come back, what would be one of the first questions you ask me?
How were you treated?
Thank you very much.
Really?
Did you hear that?
Why?
No, you hear that? Yeah. You're shocked at that.
Yeah, why?
And I didn't prompt him. I don't know this man because this is what black people say because they understand. They understand. Yeah, at a level. Yeah, at both a scientific, a religious, a personal level, how racism works. So I don't know this man. And yet when I did this a couple of weeks ago, immediately they said, how were you treated?
Okay, I'm confused. When you go to an African country?
No.
Okay,
I said
sorry.
when we go to a non-traditional country.
Okay. Oh, no,
I'm just showing you.
I understand.
I'm just showing you how pernicious racism is. And
understand.
I said to you that when you pointed out some of the things that I said, and if you said that I was unbalanced, I would have said that yes, I'm unbalanced in some of my views.
Oh,
but
can I correct myself and say I'd rather go with the unbalanced
Yeah.
option than saying inferiority complex?
Okay,
I
fair enough.
for that, yeah.
But the reason why I say I'm unbalanced
Yeah.
is because of the experiences that we've had as black people.
I understand that,
So
yeah.
I'm asking you then, if we go to non-traditional countries and you speak to black people, don't matter what strata they are, how much money they have, what intellectual level they are.
Yeah.
The first thing you say to them, if you go to Australia, if you go to Japan, if you go to Thailand, if you go to Cambodia, you come back and you explain it to a black guy, God, I went there. The first thing they say, well, how do they treat you over there? Because you know what they're trying to assess in their own mind? Based on what he's saying, I wonder if I should go over there. Because many of us
Muslims can relate with that slowly.
Yeah. But I'm just saying to you,
slowly.
many of us are confined to where we know because of that fear of racism. There is a real, genuine fear with it amongst black people that I know and the black community that I know that you don't want to go anywhere whereby you're going to have thrown on you additional racism to where you come from. And so I was asked 1,000,001 questions. Yeah, but if you go to Cambodia and you go out at night, how do they look at you? If you go into a cab, and you might think, my God, these people are paranoid. It's not paranoid.
No, you're right.
It's that
you've gone
echoes.
through, yeah.
It's that echoes.
Can I just point out something?
Yes, sir.
I think one of the things that we have to be careful as well. I think that usually when we ask the question, we don't ask in front of everyone or other races.
That's exactly the point I was trying to make.
we
And
don't
I
do
know
that.
I shouldn't
So
have done
then
that.
other people,
Yes.
But it helps me
Yes.
understand.
other
Yes.
people
I
do not know
apologize.
because
I apologize.
so other people are not familiar. They don't
Yes,
realize.
they don't realize.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from.
You know, and so you can then understand the context that whilst I can say that some of what my brother has said, some of what Sarah said, is it a little bit spicy? Yes, it is. No, hear me a second. But when I explain to you the context, where to say that are we unbalanced as a people, I believe that a lot of us are. Yeah, but it's in that context when you hear this man say what he has said. It's that context where I say that Sarah is my brother and I love him and I will back him because you see the thing is we're far too quick to point our fingers and turn our backs on each other because one thing has been said that we dislike. Do you understand? I'm saying that he remains my brother regardless because I know what his parents have gone through. I know what my parents have gone. When my old man was alive, some of the stuff that he said, I am surprised that me and my brothers haven't turned out to be serial killers. Do you understand? With some of the stuff that you've gone through.
Then you should relate with Abu Bakr radiallahu anh and what
That's completely different.
No.
You can't be
Wow,
bringing
come
in.
on.
You
Big bro,
can't be
big bro,
bringing in
big bro.
very real racism.
Big bro.
You understand? Towards
Can I object to something?
establishing a new religion.
Can I please object to something you said?
In the Middle East when there were already religions that were there.
No, you
He
said something-
sought to change that. Don't equate that with
take it from my
racism.
side.
Just one second. Just one second.
Can't equate that with
Big bro,
racism.
you said something that I'm sorry I have to object to.
Yes, sir.
When you say that what you may have said was unbalanced, or you believe
That's not the right choice of words.
yeah. I don't think that's because here we're talking about context.
Yes.
If it's actually within the context of your life experience, and there is a reason, a fundamentally
Yeah.
a valid reason for you to behave that way.
Yes.
It's not unbalanced.
Yes.
It's perfectly balanced.
Yes.
It's just not openly known.
Yes.
No, you're right. You're right.
So it's not unbalanced.
No, you're
I
right,
say that,
because-
sir.
I
It's
accept
just not
that.
open.
I accept
You know
that.
what it is. You're right, because like I said,
Let me just finish
you
this
know what
point.
it is? They're taking from my time. No, I'm sorry. So the thing is, look, we need to look at context. That's what I said to you. You should relate with Abu Bakr. Why? You shouldn't say, oh, you know what? His one was religion, my one was racism. No. Oppression is oppression. There's no his was this, mine was that. We all should relate. Like you said, it's somebody what they've gone through. If I have been belittled by black people, for example, and beaten and this, that, yes, I'm going to be bitter. But I think a person, and I would say, yes, there might be being unbalanced, but I'll have to balance it out. How? I would have to say, you know what, yes, black people have treated me bad. But for me to go out and every time someone says something or a black person, I look at him and be like, I have a right to, but I don't. It's just about disciplining oneself and saying, you know what, maybe they're not all like that. But that's a different topic. Can we agree, big bro, that what Abu Bakr said and what your forefathers went through, like you said I would have been a serial killer, yeah? Abu Bakr, forget being a serial killer, he just said a few words, yeah? So I just want to establish and make it very clear, we have no problem with you criticizing our religion. That's why we are out here in different places in the UK asking you guys to come and talk about our religion so we can clarify for you. Insult, when it comes to insult is bad. He disagrees, I disagree, yeah? This doesn't mean, I said it again, I said it before, I'm not saying I agree with the person who will go and attack him or want to do something physical to him, yeah? I disagree with that action. Would I understand it? Yes, I would. Would I agree with it? No, I won't. Would I do the same? No, I'm not going to drop to his level. He wants that from me. He wants the action. I'm not an idiot to drop to his level. And Sarah did this before and I kindly walked away. I just want to make it clear, Islam has no racism. Let's differentiate between criticism and insult. If somebody insults and you can't say, hey man, look, he's insulting, you're not letting him criticize your religion. No, that's not criticizing. Criticizing is coming and saying, look, I want to know why Allah said this. Allah says, for example, go and kill them wherever you find them. Go and kill them wherever you find them. You're going to come and say, I want to know. This sounds horrific. Criticizing. Let me explain. If I come and say, you know your God, I'm going to say, brother, how am I going to talk to you when you're coming to me with that behavior? So I think, big bro, we're talking the same thing. We're talking the same thing. Yeah, we're gonna do some closing points from my side. Closing point. I think me and Big Bro are talking about the same thing. We're talking about the same thing. 90% of the time we agree. We both disagree that someone should not insult. We both agree. Okay, criticize any religion you like. Our job is to come and answer that. Aggression. We're both against aggression. Yeah. On my side, I would say, look, I understand the one whose mother's been insulted or his forefathers are being called a monkey or this, that, whatever. I understand that guy being frustrated and wanting to do something. Do I agree with it? No. But do I understand his frustration? Yes, I do. Of course I do. Coming to Islam, can we agree that Islam does not teach racism? That Islam in no way, shape teaches individuals to go and this is my closing statement, by the way, that it teaches us to go and be insulting and disrespectful and use foul language. I want to finish off with a few narrations. Yeah, this is my closing thing. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is our role model, and he said, I did not come for nothing but to perfect good character. And he also said, there is absolutely nothing that is heavier on the scale of good deeds than one's good manners. This is from Abu Darda. There is absolutely nothing that is put on the scale that will be heavier than good manners, and the person with good manners will attain the rank of the person of fasting and prayer. Guys,
I'm Muslim.
Thank you, uncle. Anyways, fasting and prayer. This is one of the two pillars of Islam. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, a man with good manners, good conduct with people, is better than that one who fasts and prays. There is many other narrations. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, never taught the behavior that certain Muslims do here, and non-Muslims, by the way, because a few weeks ago there was a few Christian guys attacking this guy, Jewish guy, and people were like, oh, see these Muslims. I was like, wow. So what I'm just trying to say is this: Islam doesn't teach this. Just subscribe to my channel.
Let me just finish I'll make my closing argument. Firstly, before I make the closing arguments, I'd like to thank Ali Dawah, and I'd have to say to you that I had a very negative opinion of Ali Dawah and I watched the YouTube video when he was getting married and some of the stuff that he went through, and I couldn't believe it. I was actually quite touched by something, and he became human in front of my eyes. The reason why I point that out is that we're very quick sometimes to point our fingers at others and not ascribe humanity to them. I think that I'm also guilty of that from time to time, and it's a fault in my character that I'm looking to improve. There are 4 points that I want to make. The first point that I want to make is this. Initially, when we spoke earlier on today, we were speaking about the Sarah incident. I think it's very clear that there are a small group of Muslims and a small group of super ignorant Muslims, it's the new strain, that, as Ali Dawah says, who don't read, who have a very basic understanding of Islam, who are quick to anger, who are doing a great disservice to the Muslim Ummah. And I think that they should be rejected, and they should be challenged at every single step with what they do. Sarah, I will make clear again, has a right to his opinion, even though a lot of what his opinion is not my opinion, but he remains my brother. I think that's important. Second point is this, very, very important. Sometimes when Ali is reading certain scriptural words from the Prophet of Allah alayhi salam, can I dispute that? No, I can't dispute that. Do you understand? Do I want to dispute it? No, I don't want to dispute it. However, there are many other verses which have not been pulled up today regarding what I say are the actions of the Prophet of Allah alayhi salam. And I say that they should be allowed to be critiqued. They should be allowed to be critiqued openly. A strong religion has people who have very, very strong arguments, and they will be able to deal with people who wish to critique it because they genuinely believe that what they have heard makes no sense at all. I think one of the things that has concerned me with Hyde Park, with the Muslims, I don't know if many people are like me, but when I come down here, I like to hear good, strong arguments. I don't care whether it comes from Christians, Muslims, whoever. I don't believe what they believe, but I believe in the strength of a cogent argument. And unfortunately, there are very few Muslims. There was one particular Muslim, I don't want to pick his name, who I watched from afar. I thought, Jesus, he's brilliant. Do you understand? I honestly felt that he was brilliant.
About me, don't tell him.
Yeah. And I thought that he was brilliant. And then I saw his actions, and I lost a little bit of respect for him.
It wasn't me.
I lost a little bit of respect for him. And I thought, well, he's that way because he's young. Hopefully he'll bounce back. I thought he was going to be the great hope for young Muslims and for Hyde Park. And I saw his actions, and I thought, this is questionable. The third point I wanted to make is this: is that you mentioned race, and that's one thing that does sometimes trigger black people or dark-skinned people. And you mentioned that there was no racism in Islam. It's interesting that Muslims continually say this as if somehow, if they continually repeat it, it must be true. However, on another day, there's an old party trick that I have where I'll mention 27 different hadiths, of actions that I say are racist and how black people are described in those hadiths. Unfortunately, when I speak about them, they challenge the hadiths. They say it's the old. I don't like to say bait and switch, and I said that earlier, and I should apologise for that because that's not what I meant. Sometimes my words don't come out the way which they're supposed to. But there are many hadiths for me which are deeply racist, and the way in which black people are described are particularly racist. I just want to mention one hadith, and in that particular hadith, and as I said, I'm not a Hafiz, I don't remember the direct quotes, but there was one whereby it was stated, if anybody says that Muhammad alayhi salam is a black man, they should be killed. Do you understand? They should be killed. Now people go, it is a hadith. Sir.
Okay, don't worry.
Can I just say to you, and I was waiting for that to come out as well. We all realise that the hadiths didn't really start to be compiled until about 200 years after the death of Muhammad alayhi salam. And we know that, well, from my own studies, there's been about 600,000 hadith that have been rejected.
Millions.
Well, but I'm just telling you about what I've studied. That have been rejected, by those who say that they are Muslim scholars.
Okay.
So of course you would reject that which doesn't fully comply with your own narrative.
I disagree with that.
Well, and you're allowed to. My last point is this. Sometimes Muslims make statements, and I believe that when they make these statements, I believe that they are honest and they are sincere. And sometimes I can come over as quite rude when I say, I don't care what you say as a Muslim, because you can say whatever you like. I want to stick just to the Quran and the Sunnah. And the Quran backs me up in this. The Quran really does back me up. So Ali just finished with a verse from the Quran. I'd like to do so also, and it's this: to back up my point.
I'm to read it for you.
No, I can read it. Yeah.
I ordered my glasses, by the way.
No, mine's in my bag, but like I know that Dawah doesn't have much time, so I'm just
Yeah.
going to try my hardest. One of the reasons why I believe that Muslims say a lot of the things they say, and I believe some of them are sincere, it doesn't mean that because they believe they're sincere, that I should accept it. Because the last word, if you're a Muslim, is the Quran. Do you understand? So, and it's this: it is not for a believing man or a believing woman, when Allah and His Messenger has decided a matter, that they should have any choice about their affair. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger has certainly strayed into clear error. Let me point out what that means. You as a Muslim can have any view that you want. You can say anything to anybody that you want. But if it goes against the very clear instruction of the Quran and of Muhammad alayhi salam, which he says has come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you understand, then I don't have to listen to you. So in the absence of that, do you know what I do? Because this is one of the verses that I've held fast to for 27 years. What I do is this: many Muslims will say that you have to separate Muslims from Islam. Let me tell you this: those who say they follow the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I watch you very closely, because you are the representatives of that. And so when you go around threatening to harm people, threatening to disrespect people, threatening to beat people up, threatening to take action because you don't like what they say, do you know what I do? I don't listen to what you say. I listen to what the Quran says, and the Quran is very clear. The Quran is very clear. If that's what you believe in, you follow Muhammad alayhi salam and you follow his Sunnah. It's not about what you believe as Muslims. It's about the clear instruction that Allah gives you. And whilst I see many Muslims, I don't see too many practitioners of Islam. But I'd just like to thank Ali Dawah, and I think Ali Dawah is a good brother.
I want to thank Big Bro as well. I think this was an amazing conversation, and I want to have this conversation. You know, I'm fed up of shouting, insulting, etc. However, if you're finishing, I want to just touch upon a few things that he said. I would love, you said you have 27 hadiths.
Yes, sir.
I would love to have a discussion about that.
Yes.
And if you can bring them, and one thing that
I'll send them to you.
Yeah, if you send them to me, please, we'll exchange numbers, inshallah. One thing you said is that if it suits the agenda of the Muslims, they accept the hadith or they don't. We have a principle, we have the science of hadith. And the way the science of hadith works is not simple as, look, Aisha, the Prophet ﷺ married Aisha at 9. It's at 9. I'm not going to come and say to you, nah, it was 19, it's 9. And we have our valid arguments why this happened. And when like you said, before, like I said to you before, we can get into that. People say, why? Because that's another topic on its own, It's another topic on its own. We can discuss that. Because to judge something 1400 years ago with today is the big fallacy. It's a big fallacy. You know why? A woman today, you can walk around with a bikini. It's calm. It's today. Take that woman 1400 years ago, what's going to happen to her? Do you see my point? Back then, the norms of their time is not the norms of today. And the norms of today is not the norms of that day. So for someone to come and say, we need explanation, that's another topic. We'll talk about that. However, what I was pointing about is that hadiths. We have hadiths that are authentic, that are sound. the way the hadiths are compiled and the scrutiny they go through, big bro, if you can, like I said to you before, you said you was a Muslim before, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, one thing I want to say to you, if we can sit down with you and answer, I don't know why you left Islam,
Yeah.
if we go through that
Yeah.
and we answer your questions,
Yeah.
in your head, are you like, I've made my mind, no more Islam, or are you like, you know what, I've criticized, people haven't come to me with stronger arguments?
Yeah.
If you're open-minded,
Yeah.
I am more than any day, anytime, come to you wherever you are, have some halal chicken together. Do you know what I'm trying to say? By the way, just because I said chicken, I don't want people to start like, oh, black people, please.
I think that's racist.
Oh,
You
there you
mentioned
go.
chicken,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was
There you go.
deliberate.
I like
think
chicken.
somebody
I'm sorry. I'm not going to use that. I'll go black friend. Yeah.
That was just a little bit of levity. That was a joke.
And I'm not going to. And I'm not going to.
They're going to catch it.
I'm not going to defend myself by saying I got black friends. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to do that. This is this here, content over everything. I'll send you this. This is a chain of transmission. Yeah.
Yes.
We know, in today's time, I have teachers that teachers go back to the Prophet. We have a chain. Islam is not like Christianity. I don't mean this in a way like we are better. We have chains. We know each individual, how he uttered it, what he said, when did he say it, who was it said from, was he a liar, was he a fabricator? This is called chain of narration. So the 27 hadiths that you bring to me,
Yes.
I will have to look at their chain. Weak, fabricated, bang, authentic, good. What's authentic? What does it say in the word that is used? So if you can, I would love to have a discussion about those 27 hadith that you claim is racism, yeah?
Yes.
And if we go over it and
Clear racism.
clear racism, yeah?
There is no doubt.
I believe totally no way.
Yes.
And so I think the next discussion should be about those 27 hadiths which you're going to send me.
Yes.
I'm going to do my research on,
Yes.
and we're going to discuss that inshallah.
Yes.
Yeah?
Pardon?
Yeah.
Next week.
Hopefully
100%.
next week with Big Bro. And again, I want to thank him for his kind words, being polite, and we had a lovely discussion. Hope people learn and benefit. And like he said before, Muslims, you guys are a representative of Islam. Your behavior, your conduct is very important. I'm sorry, you guys need to do, I'm sorry, I have to be real. Go back to Islam and implement Islam, not your ego. And I'm not saying every Muslim's like this, because we're talking about violence as well. Violence is done by different people of different races, different religions. So I'm talking about the Muslims in Hyde Park, and a reminder to me, manners, manners, manners. Thank you very much.
Thank you.